Let's go back to KwaZulu-Natal, and I'm joined by our reporter, Dasen Thathiah, who brings us the very latest. Dasen, good evening to you. Can you tell us where you are and whether you are getting a sense that the looting is at a turning point now?
Sal, I'm sure you're surprised by the quiet around me for a change compared to the activity that we've been seeing over the past few days, especially with the looting that's been taking place in KwaZulu-Natal. But let me explain why that is. I'm in Phoenix tonight, and this is where there were reports earlier of a confrontation between two communities that live side by side. So it's very interesting. There's a road that splits right behind me here. On the one side is a dirt road, on the other side is a tarred road, and it also is the dividing line between two communities. One is Zwelisha and the other is Phoenix, where I am now. And over the past few days, there have been racial tensions that have been brewing here. It has resulted in confrontations between both communities, and you would understand that each one of them has their side and their version. We have taken the time to go into both these communities to engage and find out exactly what's wrong. Whatever those issues are, and I'll unpack them in a second, it's resulted in an estimated 15 people that have been killed in this community over the past few days. And it's an untenable situation. Residents here have been complaining about the violence in the community that we've just come from. They claim that they have not been able to cross through Phoenix. But all of this, at the heart of it, is when these riots started. And at that time, these roadblocks were set up. Now, I've been showing you quite a bit of that over the past few days, where communities have set up roadblocks on various roads in their areas, and they've done this to ensure that they know who is coming in and whether they are coming in with any items that were stolen. So in some cases, that has been done well, and it's been done to good effect because it's resulted in stolen cars being found as well as goods. But in some cases, it seems that it's also gotten out of hand as tensions are very high. So there is a back and forth. There needs to be some kind of intervention here, because I can tell you that although it's very quiet here, it's still very ominous, because both groups are not completely happy with what has transpired so far over the past few days.
And you know, Dasen, it's such an interesting point you raise, because it seems that what has happened with the looting has just shaken everybody and created fissures and tensions and a sense of instability. We're hearing this evening that the Defence Minister wants 25,000 troops on the ground. There's talk of a possible state of emergency, a state of national defence. There's concern about food and fuel coming to these communities. All of these, those issues can cause riots on their own. And I'm wondering if this is over yet. If even when the last looter leaves the last bag of rice behind, is it going to be over? Or are we going to see shockwaves around food security and tensions between communities, as you are explaining? What is your sense, having been on the ground all these days?
Well, the sense that I'm getting, Sally, is that it's certainly not going to be over when the last of those items is taken out. I mean, there's very little that's left to loot here. Yes, we are seeing new cases that are popping up. Some of it was even happening when government leaders were out and about today, many, many days after this started. But despite that, it seems to be the hangover, as I called it before, that's going to be the problem. That is going to be the issue here, because long after the looting stops, and whether there is illegal goods that's transported through this community or not, as well as other communities, the issues between neighbours is still going to persist here, and that's also going to cause problems in how these communities engage with themselves. You spoke about fuel, you spoke about food. Sal, if you take a drive around Durban today, there's still nowhere that you can possibly go and guarantee that you can get a loaf of bread or even get fuel in your car. As we're driving around now, we have a quarter tank left. We're not even sure if there are any fuel stations that are opened. It'll take a long time for these, for factories to be rebuilt, for items to be restocked. But it's certainly caused a division, and there's a divide that's been left in the community, and that is what is going to take a long time to heal. There's only one way that can happen, and that's with some kind of leadership that needs to be shown. It's more than walkabouts, it's more than the PR that we are seeing. There has to be the will to get it right and to resolve this problem far beyond the looting that we've seen, so.